and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council to introduce himself, starting by far right.
Councilman Henry Martin.
Ellen Zappa.
Councilman Rich Michael Council.
Eric Carlson. Mary Fortier. Calvin Brown. Councilor Therese Pack.
Assistant Dawn Labella.
And Mayor Ken Kane. Item, I'll have a moment first for troops on active duty. Moment of silence. Thank you. Item number 2.
It's the approval of minutes of the regular city council meeting on May 12, 2015, and I did send out yesterday some special minutes from April 23rd that I thought had been already approved. So if someone would like to make a motion to amend it if they have a chance to read it.
Move to amend the minutes to include the special minutes sent out by the city clerk.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Can we get a vote on the amendment and the regular?
So moved.
Second. Motion made, seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 3. No participation. Bill Storrs.
Bill Storrs, 31 Oxbow Drive. I have a few samples that the Bristol Marketing Committee might consider if they aren't already doing so. First one's a brochure from a Connecticut town that was distributed via Connecticut newspapers. Second, a brochure from another town that I found in our own library. Both are nice ways to get information out to the people. And if we were to do it periodically, we could include a 6 to 7 month calendar so people could plan ahead. The other item is a map, not unlike those found at vacation places, many destination places. It's recognizable at a glance. You go to the Cape, you know this is a map of the area and the spots that you may want to go to. We should have one like this, geared to visitors. We used to have a map like that, but it was all kinds of businesses that only most of the local people would be interested in. We should have one geared to visitors, showing locations of restaurants, museums, parks, libraries, historic sites, and other places of potential interest. And a map would help them get there. I know I find maps like this handy when I travel. And I'll give these to the mayor, and I appreciate it if you get it to your marketing committee. I would like, he's on marketing committee?
Give him
okay. I would like him back.
Give him Thank you. John Roast.
Good evening, Sean Rist, 53 Lancaster Road. Just want to congratulate everybody that chipped in on the beautiful new monument we have on Memorial Boulevard. Just goes to show that you can do really great things without having to turn to the taxpayers. You can request that they donate. We could do that with the piazza over here. We could actually have people donate bricks. They can put their names on it. Just an idea. But anyway, I'm not here to speak about that. I'm speaking about some problems that we have here in Bristol related to the development strategy. So there's been some rumors about whether or not Renaissance Downtown is going to continue to be working with the city of Bristol. And I see that as irrelevant as looking at the plan of conservation development. It is definitely reflective of new urbanism strategies. And the root problems with the Depot Square project stem much deeper than the developer's financing woes. The strategy identified as new urbanism in the developer's downtown concept plan submission is not so much a recipe for development growth, but rather is a way to limit and control and confine it into urban areas, as quoted into the document. The concept of new urbanism, which is rooted in the creation of vibrant, livable, mixed-use communities that provide walkability within a traditional neighborhood setting, has been around since the 1980s. That's the 80s, not the 60s. So there's rumors going around Bristol that we're turning Bristol back to the 60s with this plan, pre-60s development. It's not entirely true. People are only illustrating a small part of the development strategy. And as a matter of fact, new urbanism always requires mixed-use income and mixed income housing to provide residential opportunities to the entire population, which is contrary to the misconception that there will be no new low income in the downtown. That's a fallacy. You cannot build transit-oriented development without including low income, nor can you do it without public subsidies. So I think that we got off on the wrong foot. I think the public was misled, and the consent that we have for this project has been based on false premises. Unless, I was hoping the 2,500 Bristol risers that still support the project were going to be standing behind me to prove me wrong, but well, what could prove me wrong is actually we could put it on the ballot, and there's plenty of time to do it. We could have the commission actually draft a project referendum, and we could do that in time for November. We could pretend the citizens are as important as the developer, and we could have special meetings if we need to. But there's not a necessity for that, because I'm requesting it far in advance, and it would prove whether or not the residents of Bristol actually support an expansion of affordable housing in the downtown. But we don't have to do that. I guess we can just pretend. Bristol's 2020 graph assumes a triple bottom line development according to this document, and it talks about car-crazed lifestyles. I'm not sure that the residents of Bristol actually support a plan that actually is involved with that. I have a document from the Regional Plan Association about mixed-use housing, and they did they brought with them to the public housing debate. It was a national debate, a school working paper, which indicated that they found that practitioners in development and finance perceive new urbanist projects to be riskier than typical real estate projects thanks to their mixed-use nature, and considered inherently more difficult to do well. The Congress for New Urbanism commissioned Gorko and Rabinsky to assess whether new urbanist projects, specifically mixed-use projects, are inherently more risky or costly. Based on a survey of 23 industry practitioners, Wharton concludes the answer is yes on both counts, risk and cost, with higher risk having far more impact on financing. And they also concluded the longer the project stalled, the more risk is involved. So I ask you, if you want to grow Bristol, will you unleash the free market, take from the POCD everything that has to do with limiting development along the transportation corridor that we already have, along Route 6, the commercial corridor, where people are interested in spending money without taxpayer money, instead of trying to coerce people to build where the free market has already rejected it at the expense of taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Sean,
Henry, should I get my notes?
maybe? Sean, you said something to the fact that triple plane development?
Triple bottom line.
Bottom line, what is that?
I do have that here. Triple bottom line. Well, triple bottom line basically has to do with sustainability. It has to do with whether or not the project is economically, environmentally, and socially sustainable. My contesting this actual development is that it's not economically sustainable, because the money that you're putting into it is going to exceed what you're going to get for financial benefit out of it. So we could take public taxpayer money and we could invest it in something that's actually going to give a return to the taxpayer, not just the investor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Justin
Motino.
Thank you.
Good evening, Justin Motino, 101 Cameron Drive. Today I would like to be an advocate for and discuss the beauty of the free market. I understand that in 2015, advocating for freedom, a free market, and less government involvement into our lives seems like a radical position to be taking. However, it is my belief that these are the principles that need to be adopted if we want the most peaceful and prosperous society possible. If free market principles were followed, I believe many of the problems currently facing governments would be non-issues. The Downtown Development Project is a good example. As some of you may remember, I have spoken out publicly against the Renaissance proposal for downtown in the past, But I would like to stress that I'm not just against Renaissance teaming up with government to use taxpayer money to push an agenda, but I'm against all forms of these public-private partnerships that seem to be so popular today. These partnerships give unfair advantages to a person or group of people, shielding them from the normal just forces of the market, creating the detrimental effects and unintended consequences that ultimately come with this type of government central planning. I've heard many people claim that the master plan proposed for downtown, created through this public-private partnership, is what Bristol needs, that it would be profitable and filled to capacity. My question is, if that truly is the case, why would it need taxpayer money? Why couldn't some private developer take the risk of investing their own money, creating what they think the people of Bristol would financially support, and if they were right, reap the rewards, and if they are wrong, suffer the losses? That is the only true way to find out if something belongs in or is good for Bristol. I've heard financially support those things. I could be wrong and would love if someone proved me wrong. However, I'm not willing to use my own money for that gamble and don't believe I should be forced to financially support someone else's gamble. I believe that it is this trend towards more regulation and an increase in taxes to pay for centralized planning projects at the local, state, and federal levels that has been a major contributing factor to the decline in the American standard of living. This overall decline prevents the city from obtaining the type of demographics that would make many of these fantastic ideas feasible and profitable. There's not much that can be done here in Bristol in terms of the taxes and regulations that are being imposed by the state and federal governments, which are driving away profitable businesses and productive people. But Bristol can at least try to be a destination for those businesses and people that want or need to stay in the state. This would best be done, in my opinion, by focusing efforts on reducing local taxes and regulations and not engaging in more government central planning. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
You said free market?
So we have public participation. We'll have announcements starting my far left.
Yes, I got one quick announcement. I just want to say thank you to Bristol Eastern High School for inviting me last night to speak to a group of soon-to-be first-generation college students. The AVID program in the Bristol High School is a program that provides extra support to students to get them ready for college throughout their high school career. I got to meet some of them last night and have dinner with them, and it was a great privilege, and it's very exciting to know that those students will be going off to college, many of them with scholarships that Bristol Eastern helped them to secure. So that's great work that our schools are doing. And because it's June and this is graduation month for our high school students, I want to wish them all the best of luck in whatever they do moving forward. That's it for me. Thank you.
Councilwoman?
Hi. I believe that under committee reports we're going to hear a lot about what the Parks and Recreation Department is doing this summer, but I wanted to note that their Tuesday concert series, one of the concerts is going to be held in Forestville, and that's the one on June 30th. These are Tuesday night concerts, but it will be in Forestville Center on June 30th. The band that night is called Duly Noted, and it features music from the 50s and 60s. One of the other concerts is also going to be at Memorial Boulevard, and that will be the July 27th concert. And it's not too early to start thinking about the West End Association Festival in Rockwell Park. It's going to be August 15th this year. West End Association does meet tomorrow night if you're interested in being part of the planning for that. On Friday at 5 o'clock, Barley Vine is hosting a send-off for Bristol native Chuck Fury as he begins a cross-country motorcycle ride to raise money for various charities. The Main Street Community Foundation is coordinating donations. Chuck is a survivor of the Boston Marathon bombing, and he wanted to find a way to give back, so he's doing this motorcycle cross-country ride, and if we can support him at Barley Vine on Friday. Thank you.
I just had two brief announcements. The first one is obviously Beatlemania is upon us. The last show for the Memorial Boulevard Spring Concert Series is June 20th, 8 o'clock. Tickets are $30. This is the final piece of our viability testing for the theater component of Memorial Boulevard. But I would be remiss in saying that June 20th is actually a very busy day in Bristol. The car show is downtown. There's an event at the Boys and Girls Club. There's lots of things happening. So for people who are looking to package entertainment, downtown Bristol may be the place to be on June 20th. This Saturday, White Night is happening at the American Clock and Watch Museum, which is a great celebration of arts and culture outside of the Clock Museum, one of our oldest museums. And I just wanted to also, from an announcement standpoint, say how impressed I was with the Muzzy Field renovations and seeing everything flow together over this last weekend when the Bristol Blues opened their home season. There's obviously some logistics which are frankly needing to be worked out based on the amount of people that were there, which is always a good thing. But it's just so wonderful to see that many people enjoying a night of baseball at Muzzy Field, and I think it's going to be a great season between that, the tournaments, and American Legion fielding a team. I think there's no shortage of baseball in our town this summer. Thank you.
And I'm going to touch on the Bristol Blues as well. That was a great opening night we had Friday night. Park Department did a phenomenal job getting that field ready, considering they had a game earlier in the afternoon as well. So they had 2 games on Friday. And it's very fun, affordable family fun. So if you haven't checked it out, I suggest you do. It's a great time. We even went up to Torrington to cheer on the team on Sunday, and there was more Bristol fans there than Torrington fans. So that was pretty cool to have that up there. The team's on a winning record right now, so go see them. It's a lot of fun. That's all I have for...
Mayor, I have one that I
Go
forgot.
ahead.
Just one that our museums are going to be open on Saturday, I believe it's Saturday, for the annual state open house for museums. So if you haven't gone to any of our beautiful museums like the Carousel Museum, the Clock and Watch Museum, and others, they're going to be open for free on Saturday, so take advantage of that.
Okay. Item number 5.
Consent calendar, and there are 10 items. 5A is to place on file the new hire report for May 2015. 5B is the approval of tax refunds dated June 1st, 2015. 5C is to grant Sherry Pierce authority to issue citations on behalf of the City of Bristol under Bristol Code of Ordinances, Section 21-21.10, shopping carts. 5D is to place on file the recommendation from the Board of Fire Commissioners regarding the sale of 165 Hill Street. 5E is to approve a 1-day lease for use of Memorial Boulevard School Auditorium by the Bristol Sports Hall of Fame, Incorporated, for June 20th to June 21st, 2015, and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute the lease. 5F is to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to sign any and all documents associated with the State Department of Education annualized grant application for the Bristol Youth Service Bureau for July 1, 2015 to June 30th, 2017. 5G is the Ordinance Committee to adopt amendments to the Bristol Code of Ordinances, Section 18-170, pertaining to members of the Bristol Transportation Commission. 5H is the Ordinance Committee to adopt amendments to the Bristol Code of Ordinances, Sections 2-14 and 215, purchase of city-owned real estate procedures. Item 5I is Ordinance Committee to adopt amendments to the Bristol Code of Ordinances, Section 18-15, establishment of municipal penalties for violations of zoning regulations. And 5J is Ordinance Committee to introduce amendments to the Bristol Code of Ordinances, Section 4-4 through Section 4-8, pertaining to feral cats, to waive the reading of the amendments and schedule a public hearing for June 17th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion.
I have a question on item D, the recommendation from the Board of Fire Commissioners regarding the sale of 165 Hill Street. Where's that located?
That's right next to the firehouse up on Chippensville, right next door. That was the old school. Okay. Anything else? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item number 6.
Any reports?
Real estate.
Okay, real estate. Will allow BCO to construct raised beds for community garden and former O'Connell School on Park Street. Actually, the raised beds were put up last year, and we just reissued their approval to use them. Although the school is in the process of sale, it hasn't gone through, and the prospective owner said he would allow them to continue. So I want to make a motion to allow the use of the raised beds by BCO.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. I just have one question. So the former owner, when he closes on the school, he's still going to allow those, because that'll be
Yeah.
Yes.
mid-growing season?
Yes.
It is.
He
Okay.
had spoken to Tom Morrow, and Tom Morrow reported to us that when he does close on the building, he's going to start on the interior of the building, and that will take him a considerable amount of time, so he won't be touching the outside.
Okay, great. That's all I had. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. The real estate?
Okay, another motion to bring forward. I hereby move that the City of Bristol allow the Chamber of Commerce to use a portion of Depot Square at the corner of North Main Street and Riverside Avenue for public events during the summer months. I further move the insurance requirements must be satisfied for all events. I further move that this matter be referred to the Corporation Council to prepare and/or review any necessary documents. I further move that the mayor or acting mayor be authorized to execute any necessary documents. Ask for a second.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion passes. Anything else on the resolution?
Anything else under rules?
Committee reports, may I start? Give me that. Committee reports, starting from my far left.
Yes, briefly from the Parks Department. The Summer Youth Program registration is currently open, and a majority of the programs offered are near capacity. Programs are to begin on June 29th. The outdoor swimming pools and spray parks will be open on June 27th. The first summer concert in Rockwell Park will begin on Tuesday, June 23rd at 7 p.m. and continue every Tuesday thereafter until August 18th. Muzzy Field has a full slate of baseball games, as the mayor mentioned, this summer, including the Bristol Blues, American Legion, Pony League, and more. So check it out if you can. That's it.
Councilwoman?
None for me, thank you.
Councilwoman?
Yes, I have two. The first one is just a brief code enforcement report. Obviously, it's the busy time, and there's been over 62 new complaints adding on to the existing workload just from the last council meeting. They range in terms of the obvious with lack of property maintenance, and a lot of vacated property comes through with maintenance issues. We're starting to see the tall grass, and the part-time summer seasonal position has been filled. And we're also seeing, we actually had two unique complaints involving goats. And we have obviously the fencing, lack of permitting, and obviously the life safety issues, which continue to be a concern, including illegal apartments. So it's been very busy in terms of activity. I do have that report in case anybody wants to look at it. And the foreclosure activity, interestingly, has gone down for the last reporting period. There are only 24. The breakdown is kind of all over for this past month, with 4 in the first district, 9 in the second, and 11 in the third council district. But we're starting to see patterns with a lot of the registrant financial institutions and banks having a lot of repeat customers. So the communication with financial institutions, banks, and mortgage companies continues to be one of the major problems that we're having with resolving a lot of these issues. The other issue that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention is Attorney Leshko did visit the Code Enforcement Committee last week and brought us up to date with how we've been processing and using his office in conjunction with some of our enforcement activity, and just reminded us of some of the finer matters. And he's been one of our advisors guiding us through this process as we continue to bring all of the enforcement activity from various departments and meld that together for one cohesive action. So he's been a great asset, and it's good to have him as our wingman in terms of code enforcement. Anybody have any questions? Thank you. Okay, the second committee report is the long-awaited Memorial Boulevard Task Force recommendation, and I'll just pass these along to my colleagues. It is not really for, and there's one for the city clerk too. For tonight, we had our last workshop task force meeting last Wednesday, and we're having another one tomorrow because we are still working out some of the process reporting pieces that we think are important to you to have as part of the report when you go over it. So what I've presented to you tonight is a verbal report in the form of a letter, and I'm just going to read it into the record so those in the audience will hear what the platform is for the recommendation from our task force. This will then come to you with some supporting documentation in the next 2 weeks. So the letter is dated today, addressed to the mayor and members of the City Council. After 14 months of work, the Memorial Boulevard Task Force's recommendation to the City Council is to propose the creation of a community cultural center and pursue development of the theater and first floor, which is described as the first phase listed in the DRA planning document, with a projected financial price tag of $7 million. The components of this proposed Memorial Boulevard Community Cultural Center include, number 1, creation of a nonprofit management entity with building ownership still with the city in the short term and eventually turned over to the nonprofit for long term. The components would potentially include community center arts components, incubator co-working spaces, and potentially other tenants such as nonprofits, arts, a visitor center, startups, potential retail and/or a restaurant and/or pub. The Historic District nomination on the national level will be pursued. We currently only have state designation. The task force also envisions a partnership for the reuse of this building. The city would be asked for the majority of the code upgrade funding required for the first phase, while the nonprofit would also begin to aggressively pursue grants and donations. It was the feeling of the group that this preserves the theater as the focus and also maintains the civic historic purpose of the building, as well as meeting the suggestions as outlined in the Planning Commission's recommendations. Phases 2, 3, and 4 will be designed and constructed as the city's need for space evolves. A formal written report highlighting the task force's work processes will be submitted within the next week, and it is our hope that the City Council will take this under advisement and be prepared to place the recommendation on an agenda for discussion and action in July. Submitted and signed by me, but on behalf of the task force, as well as probably the 2 or 3 dozen volunteers that have actively participated in the process since April of 2014. We feel strongly that this could be a catalyst to work in conjunction with or separate from anything that could possibly be happening downtown. I'd also like to point out, and I think I've said it before, that from a linear standpoint, the boulevard is our gateway, and it kicks off people's entrance into both downtown, but also traveling through downtown to the government center, using the Route 72 interchange, and heading up toward our parks and also Muzzy Field. So it's an important building in many respects, but I think also from a project standpoint, it's one that the community has embraced, and it's one that we're very excited about the potential.
Any questions? Councilwoman, when you send the report, can you also send it to the Comptroller's office so they can get it to the Board of Finance? Because I'd like to get on the Board of Finance agenda. We're talking significant dollars here, and I think they need to have some say in this as well. Any other questions?
Will this be done, the presentation to the City Council as a special meeting?
We'll probably end up holding a special meeting, whether it's a joint board with the Board of Finance or individuals, still to be determined, but we'll take this up on its own since it's such a large project.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? So it won't be on the July, whatever that July council meeting is. We'll have a special city council meeting in July. Any other questions? All right. Thank you. Anything else, Councilwoman?
No.
Item number 7, unfinished business, starting my far right.
None.
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 You thought it was so.
I did.
Should I move on?
Yeah, you did.
Item number 8, new business, starting my far left.
No.
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 Councilwoman?
No.
Chair has none. Resignations.
One resignation. It's from Christopher McNeil from the Mayor's Task Force on Energy Consumption.
We have a motion to accept and send a letter of thanks. Motion made, second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion passes. Appointments. Commission for Persons with Disabilities. To reappoint Kathleen Nelson and to reappoint Robert Bianchi. 3-year term. Bianchi, 3-year term to 2018.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Motion passes. Mayor's Task Force on Energy Consumption to appoint Thomas Reganey to replace Crystal McNeil, citizen at large, no term.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Motion passes. Board of Finance to reappoint John Smith, to reappoint Jay Currier, 4-year terms to 6/19.
So moved. Second?
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Northeast School replacement. To appoint Elizabeth Ryan to replace Paul Magny, resigned citizen taxpayer for school area member, no term. And to appoint Darcy Fitzsimmons to to replace Chad Larkhart, resigned, professional commercial industrial member, no term.
So moved. Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Plainville Area Cable Television Advisory Council, to reappoint George Eswitzky, to reappoint Joanne Thomas, to reappoint Benedict Perrin, to reappoint Teresa Barton, 2-year term to 2/17.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion.
Your Honor, just real quick, is that a new committee? Is that something that's been
No,
around?
that's been around for a while.
Oh, okay.
Don't ask me when.
Yeah.
Other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, motion passes. Youth Commission, to reappoint Barbara Callahan, private youth rep, to reappoint Joan Trafford, citizen member, to reappoint Raymond Decker, citizen member, to reappoint Catherine Casson, school system member, 3-year term to 6/18.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Zoning Commission, to reappoint William Cunningham, 3-year term to 6/18.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item number 11.
Resolution regarding approval to file 2015 Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant application with the U.S. Department of Justice
I can read that, Your Honor. Be hereby resolved that the filing of an application for the 2015 Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant to the U.S. Department of Justice is hereby approved, and that the Mayor, Ken Cockane, or Acting Mayor, and the Chief of Police or Acting Chief of Police are hereby authorized to execute such application and any and all other documents relating to this funding or grant, including but not limited to any final funding grant documents, and that the previous execution and filing of said application by the Chief of Police are hereby ratified. Be it further resolved that this matter be referred to the Board of Finance for any necessary action.
Second.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Resolution starting my far left.
Yes.
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 Chair votes yes, motion passes. Item number 12.
Approval to accept funds for the fiscal year 15 Click It or Ticket grant with the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation, Highway Safety, and to refer to the Board of Finance for any necessary action.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item 13.
Award of contract 2P1571, professional services, vibration analysis, and associated engineering services to Stylish Engineering Incorporated for $54,150, and authorization for mayor or acting mayor to execute any necessary documents.
Approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion passes. Item 14.
Award of contract 2C1585, classroom additions at Bristol Adult Education to S. Carpenter Construction Company for $69,225, and authorization for mayor or acting mayor to execute any necessary documents.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item 15.
Award of contract 2C1593, Hillside Place roadway improvements to NJR Construction LLC for $496,840, and authorization for mayor or acting mayor to execute any necessary documents.
So moved.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion passes. Item 16.
Resolution regarding approval of list of program applications under the Neighborhood Assistance Act tax credit program, and authorization for mayor or acting mayor to submit any necessary documents. And there is a resolution to read.
I can do that. Be it hereby resolved by the City Council of the City of Bristol, Connecticut, that the list of program applications is approved by the Bristol Development Authority on May 26, 2015, to obtain benefits under the Neighborhood Assistance Act tax credit program is hereby approved, and that the mayor or acting mayor is authorized to submit such applications and any and all other documents relating to the Neighborhood Assistance Act to the State of Connecticut Department of Revenue Services.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none. Roll call, starting with our right.
Yes.
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 Chair votes yes, motion passes. Item 17.
Approval of Amendment 4 to Contract 2P1267, engineering services for the design of phosphorus upgrades at the Water Pollution Control Facility at C2CDM Smith for $1,580,046, contingent upon approval by Connecticut and authorization for mayor or acting mayor to execute any necessary documents.
So moved.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item 18.
Award of contract to C-1578 Northeast Middle School roof replacement to Greenwood Industries Incorporated for $1,637,000 and authorization for mayor or acting mayor to execute any necessary documents.
So moved.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item 19.
Resolution regarding approval to submit application to Connecticut DEEP for recycling rewards grant funds for purchase of roll-off containers for single-stream recycling. And there is a resolution to read.
I'll get that.
Be it hereby resolved by the City Council of the City of Bristol, Connecticut, to approve submission for an application of up to $18,000 to the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection for Recycling Rewards Grants Funds for the purchase of roll-offs containers for single-stream recycling, to authorize the mayor to execute any and all documents associated with the application/grant included, but not limited to any final grant documents. Be it further resolved that this matter be referred to the Board of Finance for any necessary action.
Second?
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, roll call, Mayor for our left.
Yes.
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 Chair votes yes, the motion passes. Item 20.
Approval of supplemental change order to contract 2P1493 architectural roof replacement at Northeast Middle School for $33,640, increasing total contract to $22,740, and authorization for mayor or acting mayor to execute any necessary documents contingent upon approval by the Northeast Middle School Roof Replacement Building Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item 21.
Approval of amendment to contract with Geo Design Incorporated for $108,347 for completion of a Phase 3 assessment and authorization for mayor or acting mayor to execute any necessary documents.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, motion passes. We'll go to the addenda.
The addenda is resolutions regarding approval to authorize the treasurer, assistant treasurer, comptroller, and assistant controller to execute financial and other related transactions on behalf of the City of Bristol with Santander Bank and Liberty Bank, and to waive the reading of the resolutions but to include them as part of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Is it the resolution? We have no resolution to read?
There's actually like 5 pages.
Okay.
That's why they're
Okay. All right.
attached to
Any
the
discussion?
addendum because they're
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, we still have roll call. Start on my left.
Yes.
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 Chair votes yes, motion passes. Item 22.
These are the executive sessions. So they are, the first one is to discuss the settlement agreement regarding the matter of Consumers Federal Credit Union versus Consumers Federal Credit Union, docket number HHB CV10 600-3924S. The next is also the settlement agreement between Consumers Federal Credit Union and Consumers Federal Credit Union, HHB CV09 600-2503S. Third is an executive session to discuss the disposition of outstanding relocation liens against properties known as 38 Stern Street and 45 Stern Street. And the last executive session is to discuss the claim of George Torres versus Officer George Franick, Lieutenant Mark Moskowitz, and City of Bristol, docket number 3:14 CV 00311.
So moved. Do we need it?
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Who's going in?
On all of the matters, it'll be our office, and on the last item, it will be our outside counsel from Howden, Ludor, Tom Gerard.
We'll take that one first. He's here.
I know he's here. Okay, I mean, I was just going to ask him whether he
Okay,
preferred to
all right, whatever you
keep it in
prefer.
order.
Whatever you prefer. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion passes.
I have one.
And Calvin has all of them, right?
No, I do not have one.
I have them. Oh, Metro, Metro. Ready? Ready? We're back. Can I have a motion to come into session?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion passes. Let the record show no votes were taken in executive session. Do we have any motions come before us?
I do.
Go ahead.
I move that we consent to the settlement reached by the city's insurance carrier in the pending case of Perez versus City of Bristol, docket number 314-CV-D0311.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Any other motions?
I have two. I hereby move that the City of Bristol enter into an access agreement with JPG Partners LLC to commence site work on the premises known as 17 Summer Street upon obtaining any necessary land use approvals. Ask for a second.
We have a second.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Okay, one more. I hereby move that the conveyance of the property known as 17 Summer Street be referred to the Planning Commission for a report.
We have a second.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Any other motions?
Yes, I have one. In reference to agenda item number 24, I hereby move that the City of Bristol release the relocation lien on the property known as 38 Stern Street upon issuance of a certificate of occupancy for 4 units. I hereby further move that the City of Bristol release the relocation lien on the property known as 45 Stern Street upon issuance of a certificate of occupancy for 6 units.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Let me say that this is the 2 Stern Street properties that we condemned. Was owned by Aaron Cohn, and we worked with a new investor to come in, a reputable investor, someone that is going to take care of the properties, invest a significant amount of money in the properties, and have this a beautiful 2 buildings again. He's reducing 45 Stern Street from 12 units to 6, and from 8 units to 4. So our attack on blight is not only about tearing down structures, but it's also working with responsible owners in rebuilding condemned properties and keeping them on the tax roll. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Any other business? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good night. Motion passes. Good night.